Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make the matching top to the skirt that we made in our previous video. So it's the granny square fringe skirt, and today we're going to learn how to make the matching top. The most interesting thing about this top is that it can be worn two ways, one with more coverage than the other. So you make your choice and wear it the way you want. So I'll be walking you through the step-by-step process of how to make this top. So don't forget to check out the skirt tutorial as well. So let's get into the materials. You will need yarn. As you can see, I used Robin. It's 100% acrylic fingering weight yarn. So you will need this in different colors. I decided to use a total of 5 colors for me, and you will see all that within the video. A 3mm crochet hook, and then you also need a darning needle, a pair of scissors, a measuring tape. So let's get started. For this tutorial, I'll first teach how to make the granny square, and then later on we shall join each and everything and then attach fringes, and everything will come together nicely as you can see in this photo. So let's get started. Can have a look at the granny square. We have a multicolored granny square, so that's what I'll be demonstrating, but you can go ahead and use one color if you wish. So we're going to start off with the very first color, which is the light yellow. All right, to start off, you're going to start off with a magic ring. For magic ring, you're going to put your yarn across your fingers like this. You're going to roll it over like this to create an X. Insert your hook, grab this yarn that's attached to the yarn ball, and then hold. Remove your fingers, and then you're going to make a chain of 1. That chain of 1 doesn't count as anything. You're going to go ahead and make a chain of 3, which will count as our very first double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to go ahead and make another chain, which is the 4th chain. So this counts as 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then you're going to go into the ring with 1 double crochet, just like that. So far we have a total of 2 double crochets separated by a chain 1 space, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 double crochet into the ring. If you feel like the ring is too big, you're going to just pull on the tail so that you can reduce it a bit. So far we have 3 double crochets, because the chain 3 at the beginning counted as a double crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, and each double crochet is separated by a chain 1 space. So we want a total of 8 double crochets. So far we have 3. We are going to go ahead, chain 1 double crochet, that's the 4th, chain 1 double crochet, that will be the 5th, chain 1 double crochet, that is the 6th, chain 1 double crochet, that is the 7th, and then chain 1 and 1 double crochet, and that is the 8th double crochet. So let's cross check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So once you have your 8 double crochets, you're going to pull on the tail of the magic ring to close up the magic ring, and this is what you'll have. You're going to make a chain of 1 and then count from the base of the chain 4 at the beginning of the row. Count from the base and then go into the 3rd chain. insert your hook, pull through all. So that is a slip stitch. So this will create our very first round. As you can see, it's a circle, but later on it will turn into this square that we are seeing right here. So we are done with round one, and this is the very first color. So when you're done with round one, you're going to make a chain of 1 and grab your scissors, cut your yarn just like this. We're going on to our next color, and that color will be white. You're going to drop your very first color and move on to your next color. So one thing that you have to make sure you do is to use the same exact thickness of colors so that you can have a uniform granny square. So we're going to start off with a slip knot with the second color, and we're going to attach it in the chain 1 space right after the tail of the previous row. So into this chain 1 space there. Just attach your yarn there. And then you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, plus 1 more double crochet into the same space. So that will give us 2 double crochets, because the chain 3 at the beginning counts as a double crochet. So you're going to make a chain of 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat this all the way around. Chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So one thing that you should note is we are not going into the stitches of the previous round, we're just going into the chain 1 spaces. Chain 1, 2 double crochets into the very last chain 1 space, 1 and 2, and then you're going to make a chain of 1, and then once you place 2 double crochets into the very last chain 1 space, you're going to make a chain of 1 and then go on top of the first chain 3 of the round, and you're going to place a slip stitch. So just insert your hook and pull through all, and this is what you'll have. After this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, leaving a tail to weave in, just like we did for our previous round. So this marks the end of round 2. So we're going on to round 3, and things are going to change a bit. Round 3 is going to be the blue color. So get your next color. Mine is sky blue. Then you're going to attach it in the chain 1 space right before the tail of at the end of the previous round. So in this space, the chain 1 space before the tail. So for the previous round, we attached our yarn in the chain 1 space after the tail. So for round 3, you attach your yarn in the chain 1 space before the tail. So you're going to attach your yarn like this. Then you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet, and go into the same exact chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets, just like that. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1, and we're going to create our very first corner. We are going to turn our circle into a square at this point. So after your chain of 1, you're going to go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. just like that. So we've created our very first corner of the square. Then you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over the next 2 double crochets, and then into the chain 1 space you're going to place only 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. After this, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over the next 2 double crochets, and then into the chain 1 space you're going to create a corner, and that corner is comprised of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So at this point we've created our second corner. As you can see, the sides are becoming flat. And then from here you're going to make a chain of 1, skip 2 double crochets, into the chain 1 space you're going to place only 3 double crochets. So you can see how the square is coming to life. From here you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over 2 stitches, and then into the next chain 1 space we are going to create a corner. So we are placing 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. All right, so far we have this side, and now we are creating our third side because the fourth side is not yet complete as well. So after this you're going to make a chain of 1, go into the next chain 1 space. After skipping over 2 stitches, go into the next chain 1 space with only 3 double crochets. Chain 1, into the last chain 1 space. After skipping over 2 stitches, the last chain 1 space should get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space, just like that. So as you can see, we have a mini square. We have this side, this side, this side, and this side is not yet finished. So we shall make a chain of 1 and slip stitch on top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round after skipping over the last 2 double crochets. So you're going to go on top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round and place a slip stitch by pulling through all. Just insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through all. So that's a slip stitch. You're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through. So this marks the end of round 3. Round 3 changes our circle into a square, and at this point you can see the circular bit in the middle of the square, but we eventually have a square, not a circular shape. So from here onwards we are going to maintain this square shape, and at this point we are here, we are at this level. So we're going to keep building onto our granny square as I'll be explaining. So we're going on to round 4. Round 4 is going to be this beautiful color. It's peach, and it's the one that I'm going to use for round 4. So you're going to start off with a slip knot, and then you're going to attach it into the chain 1 space right before the tail that ended the previous round. So into this, and this is the round that we are going to keep repeating. So just attach your yarn into the chain 1 space. A few things that you have to note are the chain 2 spaces create the corners of the square, and then when you're working along the sides of the square you only place chain 1 spaces in between the groups of 3 double crochets. So let's go on to round 4 and see how it's worked, because this is the round that we are going to keep repeating again and again until we get the size of the square that we need for our project, whatever you're going to use this square for. So you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. Go into the same exact chain 1 space with 2 more double crochets, and then that will give us a total of 3 double crochets, since the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. After this, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over the next 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space. As I had mentioned earlier on, you only place 3 double crochets, and then after that you make a chain of 1, and then into the chain 2 space, or the corner, you're going to go in there with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. In order to maintain the corner, you have to still place a shell, and a shell for this tutorial is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. The shells are only placed in the corners of the square. So once you get done with this, you're going to make a chain of 1, because this is not a corner, and you're going to go into the next chain 1 space with only 3 double crochets, because each chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets. Chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, the next space. Remember, we don't work anything into the stitches, so we just go into the spaces. You just see what space is next. If it's a chain 2 space, it will get a corner or a shell. So this is a chain 2 space, so that means we are placing 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain 2 space in order to maintain that corner. So you can see where the corner of the previous row was is exactly where the corner of the next row is. So you maintain those corners in order to maintain the square shape of the granny square. So chain 1, into the chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, because each chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets only. Chain 1, this is a chain 1 space, so it will get 3 double crochets. Chain 1, this is a corner, so it will get a shell, and a shell is 3 double crochets. Chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space in order to maintain the corner. Just like that. And then we are going onto this side. So chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then into the next chain 2 space. The next space is a chain 2 space, which is a corner. It should be creating our very final corner. So you go in there with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space in order to maintain the corner. So after that, you're going to make a chain of 1, and then skip over the next 3 double crochets, and you're going to slip stitch on top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. Pull through all, and then you're going to make a chain of 1, cut your yarn. Okay, so we are done with round 4, and this is the level at which we are at. And yeah, now that means the next color will be blue, then peach, then brown. But I'm not going to demonstrate all that, because at this point I have demonstrated the basic construction of the square, and you're going to repeat row 4. Just remember, every chain 1 space gets only 3 double crochets, and each chain 2 space gets a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in order to maintain the corner. And then no stitch is worked into the stitches. all the stitches are worked into the chain spaces, and you're going to keep working, keep building your granny square. And another thing that you have to note, at round 3, there's only one group of 3 double crochets in between the corners, in between the shells that are placed in the corners of the square. Then round 4, we end up getting 2 groups of 3 double crochets in between the 2 shells at the corners of the square. So you can see this happening here, happening here, happening here, and happening here. So you should be having the same exact number on each side in order to maintain the square shape. So that means for round 5, you will have a total of 3 groups of 3 double crochets in between the corners or the shells that are placed at the corners of the square, because we have 1, 2, and 3 chain 1 spaces. So just keep that in mind and keep working your granny square until it builds up to the size that you want. Alright guys, so we're going to go back to our bust measurement, and the bust measurement that I'm considering for this top is 38 inches, as we saw at the beginning of the video. Now you're going to get this 38 or whatever number that you have measuring your bust circumference and divide it by 4. So 38 divided by 4 is equal to 9.5 inches. And I don't want my top to be very tightly fitted or loosely fitted. So when I am measuring my very first granny square across like this, just place your granny square in a diamond shape and measure this length from this corner all the way to this corner, and just stretch it slightly to get to your 9.5 inches, as you can see here. When fully stretched, it can go even up to 12 inches, but I don't want the fitting to be like this. So that's why I am considering a slightly stretched measurement. So if I don't stretch it, it's about 8 inches, but when I slightly stretch it, it's about 9.5 inches. And these are the number of rows that I'm going for the granny squares that are going to form the top. And I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 rows. So you're going to get your second granny square. For the second granny square, I worked up to row 7, which is this one. And for row 8, I worked until I reached the very last corner. As you can see here, I haven't yet finished the last corner because I want to attach it onto what we already have here. So we work round 8 as usual, as I had demonstrated earlier on. And when you get to the last corner, you're going to make a chain of 1, and then into the corner you're going to place 3 double crochets. But this time we are going to join onto the granny square here. So after your 3 double crochets, you're going to make a chain of 1, this time not 2, because we have to attach onto a corner. So you're going to remove your hook after your chain of 1. You're going to insert your hook into this corner here on the second granny square, pull through that loop, chain 1 more to make a total of 2 chains, and then you're going to wind up with 3 more double crochets into the chain 2 space, just like that. And then you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over the next 3 double crochets, and into the next chain 1 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then skip the last 3 double crochets and slip stitch into the top of the first chain 3 of the round, just like that. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. All right, so this brings us to 2 granny squares that are joined in the corner, but they both have 8 rounds. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you should have the same exact number of rounds for the 2 granny squares, but this time joined at the corner. So you're going to get your next granny square and do the same exact thing. So as you work your round 8, when you come to the very last corner here, now we are going to join onto this corner. So we are going to just have this one joined here, then we have this one joined here, and we're going to do the same exact thing. So chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, remove your hook, attach into the corner here, chain 1 more, 3 more double crochets into the same chain 2 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and then chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the first chain 3 of the round. Chain 1 and cut your yarn. So far we have a total of three squares in a line. All right guys, so for the 4th granny square, I'm going ahead to attach the same exact way as we did for the 3rd. So I'm going to attach into this corner. So when I'm working my very last corner, I will attach it into the corner here. So we shall have a total of 4 granny squares in a row. And then complete our granny square as usual until the end of round 8, or whatever round that you're on at this point. Chain 1 and slip stitch into the top of the very first chain 3 of the round. Chain 1 and cut your yarn. So you'll have a total of 4 granny squares in a line like this. This is different from what we did for the skirt. At this point, when we were working the skirt, we joined into a round so that we started working in rounds for the skirt. But now we have 4 granny squares on their own. So we are going to fold over like this so that the open side is at the top, just like this. And then we're going to do something different. So the side where this is open and it's not joined is the front side of our top. So you're going to turn it to the back side where we have a joining in the middle section, and we're going to join 1 granny square into this space here. All right, so I have my granny square here and it's only lacking the very final round. So I'm going to first work one side until I reach the corner, and then I'll start attaching along the sides of the granny square. So I'm on round 8 and I am slip stitching until the chain 1 space, chain 3, 2 more double crochets into the same chain 1 space, and then chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So we're just doing the same exact thing that we've been doing for our granny squares until we get to the corner. So I'm at the corner and I'm placing my 3 double crochets. This time I'm not going to chain 2, I'm going to chain 1 and then attach into the corner of this granny square here, because we are going to work along this side while attaching here, and then along this side while attaching here. Then we wind up our granny square. So we are going into this granny square on this side on top. Don't go into both, only the one on top. Chain 1 more and then 3 double crochets into the same exact chain 2 space to make a shell, Then from here you're going to make a chain of 1, attach by inserting your hook into the chain 1 space on this side, pull through the loop, and then go into the next chain 1 space on this side with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, remove your hook, attach, and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So you're going to do that all the way across until you reach the next corner. So what we are doing right now is attaching the 2 granny squares along the sides. As you can see here, the short distance that we've worked, we are joining the 2 panels together. So keep working until you get to this corner here. Alright, so we've reached the corner and we're placing 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, attach into the corner here, find the exact middle point of the corner, and then chain 1 more to make a total of 2 chains, and then place 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain 2 space. Chain 1, go into this side. Now we are working along this side. As you can see, we are done with this side. Now we are working along this side, doing the same exact thing that we were doing here. So after attaching, you go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, remove your hook, attach, and then 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, attach, three double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat that all the way across until you get to the next corner. So we've reached the next corner and we are placing 3 double crochets into the corner, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, attach into the corner on this side, chain 1 more, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain 2 space to complete the corner on this side. So let's see what we have at this point. Okay, so we've attached this side and this side, so we are going on to complete our granny square until we come to the beginning of the round. So let me do that real quick and then I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so we are coming to the end of the row, placing a slip stitch, chain 1, and cut your yarn. So we are done with that middle granny square that we've just placed in the middle of the 2 granny squares that we had at the back. So this is what your work will look like If I zoom out like this, this is the whole panel. This is how it looks like. Now we're going to get another granny square and we're going to place it here, just like we've done this one. You're going to fill in this gap and then fill in this gap as well. So we shall have 4 granny squares on top and 3 granny squares at the bottom, including this one, the one that we are going to place here, and the one that we are going to place here. But we are following the same exact instructions that I just showed you. So let me go ahead and get my next granny square. So this is my next granny square and it's going to be placed here, and then the final granny square will be placed here in this space here, just like I have demonstrated this one. So go ahead and join, and then I'll meet you back when you're done with this one and this one attached onto what we already have. Alright guys, this is what your work should look like. The upper layer should be 1, 2, 3 and 4 squares, and the lower layer should be 3 squares, 1, 2 and 3, and this marks the end of the general construction of the top of our top. So for my client, she wants the open side at the front, so you're going to just fold over like this and have the top 2 granny squares meet at the same level. So just like that, we have something like this. So this will be the back side, the one with the extra granny square in the middle, and then this will be the front side. But any side can be the front or the back side, depends on how much coverage that you want for that day. So if you want the tummy out, then this will be your front side, the one without this granny square. And if you want more coverage, you just turn it around and have this covering your mid torso and then the fringe down. So let's go onto the straps. We're going to create straps, and I promised my client to have a little bit of thick straps for her, and yeah, I'm going to show you how to create straps for this top. And the straps I'm going to make are approximately 10 inches. So you're going to get the top layer of the top, one of the granny squares, and then make a slip knot, and you're going to attach into the chain 1 space before the corner. So this is the corner, into the chain 1 space here. So we are attaching our yarn into the chain 1 space here before the corner, and making a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then going into the corner with 3 double crochets. So into the chain 2 space, place 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. Okay, just like that, and then place a double treble crochet into this chain 1 space. So you're going to yarn over twice. No, actually this is a treble crochet. Yarn over twice and then go into the chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So this is what we have for row 1. Now we are going to go onto row 2, make a chain of 3, turn your work, go into the chain 2 space with a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. And after this, you're going to go into the space here, this space here, after the 3 double crochets, and you're going to place a double crochet there. So we're just going to repeat row 2 until this strap is approximately 10 inches long, because that's what I measured for my client, or however long you want your strap to be. So chain 3, turn your work, a shell into the chain 2 space of the previous shell, Alright, after placing a shell into the previous shell, you're going to go into this space after the 3 double crochets and place a double crochet there. So just repeat until this length is approximately the length of the strap that you want. Alright guys, so I ended up doing a total of 16 rows for the strap, and that gave me my 10 inches that I intended to make. As you can see, if it's not stretched, it's 9 inches, but when stretched a bit, it's 10 inches, and I believe this is just perfectly fine. So if it's fully stretched, it goes to around 11.5, but I want around 10 inches. So when you're done with your very last row, you're going to make a chain of 1 and leave a tail behind for attaching, and pull through. Now we're going to go back to the placement of our top like this, just like we had before, and you're going to fold over this strap so that it can meet this side, this other corner. We're going to fold it into half, and we're going to attach this side onto what we have on this other end, on the second granny square below the one on top. So we are attaching the last stitch into the chain 1 space, just like that. Attach it 2 times, and then attach stitch to stitch the double crochet stitches. Attach stitch to stitch. So these are the first 3 double crochets, and then into the chain 2 space, attach once, and then go into the 3 double crochets on this side. Alright, so after attaching the 3 double crochets on this side, you are attaching the space into the space, and then after that you will weave in this tail later on, or you can decide to weave it in immediately. But this is what our strap looks like. We're going to repeat the same exact process for our second strap on this side. So now that we have a strap here, we need a strap here as well. So we're going to go ahead and create a strap here the same exact way. So rewind the video and repeat the same exact process for your second strap. Alright guys, we're done with both straps, and this is what you should have. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 strands of the main color, and I attach straps on both this end and this end. So 2 strands of yarn, and I'm going to attach it here in this corner, just like this. Single crochet into the same exact corner, and just make a simple chain of about 50 chains. So I have my 50 chains. I'll cut my yarn and repeat the same exact process at this corner as well, the opposite corner. So after my 50 chains, I'll cut my yarn. And now these 2 chains that we've created are going to tie either at the front of your work, if this is your chosen placement of your top, or at the back of your work, if you prefer to have your top like this with more coverage at the front. So the next thing that we're going to do is to attach fringes, and we're going to use these colors in the middle without the main color, just like we did for the skirt. We have the fringe, but we didn't include the brown in the fringe. So we're going to go ahead and do the same exact type of fringe at the base of our top, as you can see here. So we're going to attach in each and every chain space around the base of the top. All right, guys, you're going to cut strands of about 16 inches, as you can see here, of each and every color used in the middle section of the granny squares, minus the boundary color. So my fringes are going to be colorful. You can see I didn't include the brown. So once you get that, you're going to go into each and every chain 1 space and chain 2 space. So the chain 2 spaces are at the corner of the granny square. Then you get another one and go into each and every chain 1 space of the granny square, like that. So this is going to take some time, but just go into each and every chain 1 space and attach a tassel or a fringe of these colors, and then I'll meet you back later on. Alright guys, this is how the back side will look like, the one that has more coverage. So we're going to flip over our work to the front side and continue to create our fringes at the front, along this side and along this side, and then I'll be back to show you the final look of the top. Alright guys, after your fringe at the front, this is what you'll have. This is the front side of the top, and then this is the back side of the top, but any can be either the front or the back. And the last thing left is weaving in all your tails, and your top is ready to wear. So I'm going to go ahead and weave in. If you want, you can even put an edging around the openings of the top, but I'm not going to do that. I prefer my stitch to remain as plain as this. And yeah, that's basically it. Don't forget to check out the matching skirt for this top. We already have a tutorial for that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.